Hello, welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren Jaime, and today we update you on what's happening in and around our borough and New York City. Coming up, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and today we speak with a primary care provider and an educator from Lehman College. Her principal focus, getting the public screened while taking control of your healthcare needs. After that, we're joined by an award-winning writer, international explorer, who will share his highlights from his project in Somalia. And then finally, we'll sit down with two representatives from Miss Abbies Kids, learning about their upcoming Halloween health wellness fair right here in our borough. So stay tuned because all this much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime. You're now watching Open, a live program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Some things have been going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through it with some Bronx updates. And we kick off taking a look at some new Bronx initiatives aimed at creating healthy choices for the people of the Bronx. Sharing more on this story, our reporter, Nicole Rosado.
Bronx Borough President Vanessa L. Gibson joined community partners to commemorate the debut of the Healthy Bodega, Bodega Fresca 2025 Healthy Fall Choices menu. This initiative offers fresh, culturally inspired grab-and-go meals and snacks to local bodegas in the South Bronx, ensuring that Bronx residents have access to inexpensive, nutritious, and delicious food options.
The bodegas are the staples of our community and whatnot. It's where our communities go for day-to-day purchases. We don't go to the supermarkets off the rip and whatnot. We usually just go to our bodegas. And it's a place that it's like a community hub. You could go there to the bodega and be short, and they'll give you credit and whatnot and see you next time. They know your kids, they know your family because you come there on a regular.
In order to provide Bronx neighborhood corner stores with fresh, culturally inspired grab-and-go food, Bodega Fresca was established emphasizing bodega and community leadership.
We are close to last, if not last, too often. And instead of just speaking about the problem, we're here to address it and find solutions. Solutions to bring options to our stores, bodegas and supermarkets of healthier options so that when the consumers come into our stores, they're not only bombarded with foods that are not nutritional, that are not healthy. In this way, we can hope to start turning that reputation around and make things better for our communities.
With funding from the New York Health Foundation, this innovative partnership of public health and commercial partners continues to work closely with Bronx residents, bodegas, schools, and community organizations to develop, test, and create family-friendly, nutritious meals and snacks that are sold at neighborhood bodegas in Hunts Point, Longwood neighborhood.
Across Hunts Point and Longwood, which we identify as a community that has high rates of asthma and heart disease and renal failure, hypertension, high blood pressure. This is our effort to lift up families in a real way and to provide access and opportunity. So I'm very proud, and I am working with the Bodega Association. We did a launch a few months ago, and now this launch is our fall menu initiative. So in partnership with our partner bodegas, we're offering these healthy food choices at an affordable rate.
New menu offerings include healthy drinks like the Refresh Red Limeade and Coconut Carrot Ginger Globe Cooler, as well as snacks like coconut and guava oatmeal energy bites and spiced coconut granola bites. The Healthy Bodega initiative aspires to transform bodegas into places where health and culture intersect, where families can obtain affordable fresh meals that reflect their desire for healthier options. Reporting from BronxNet, Nicole Rosado.
And for more information about the Health Bodega Fresca, you can visit the website at www.collectivefare.com/Bodega Fresca. Well, in other news, we're going to talk about the 8th annual Bronx Native celebration that was hosted by Bronx Native. Our reporter, Brittany Schuyler, has the details.
In the South Bronx, neighbors gathered to celebrate the 8th annual Bronx Native Day with a block party honoring the quaint shop on 138th Street, which has grown into a massive brand. The celebration, hosted by Bronx Native co-founder Almaris Grujon, turned the block into a living tribute to everything the Bronx represents.
Celebrating the Bronx, celebrating the movement, and just celebrating this beautiful journey from the Bronx to infinity.
Local artists, entrepreneurs, and performers filled the streets, showcasing the Bronx's unique blend of art, fashion, and music. From live performances to pop-up shops and food vendors, the day served as a reminder that creativity in the Bronx isn't just thriving, it's defining the next generation of culture.
Really important to represent where you come from. Not only that, the Bronx has so much talent. It has so many amazing people, just like a renaissance that's happening here live in front of our eyes.
For Bronx Native, what started as a clothing brand has grown into a full movement. One that celebrates the people, stories, and spaces that make the Bronx one of New York's most influential boroughs. Through events like this, Grujon and his team continue to uplift their community, inspiring young creators to take pride in where they come from.
We did not see things like this growing up in the Bronx. We didn't see no representation. And we said, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna create a brand that truly represents the Bronx. A brand that is a community brand.
The Bronx Native Shop, now a cornerstone of local culture, is looking to expand its creative reach, branching out into a hub for collaboration, mentorship, and storytelling that continues to uplift the Bronx and inspire what comes next. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler.
And thank you, Brittany. For more information about the Bronx Native and future events, please visit BronxNativeShop.com or follow them on Instagram at The Bronx Native. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We are done with our Bronx updates, but we are not done. We got more show coming up, more open, right after this.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet Community Media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
And we are back. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and our first guest today is from Lehman College's School of Health and Sciences, Human Services, and Nursing. She's here to remind us, and I should say particularly women, how to empower themselves by getting screened and taking control of your own health needs. We welcome now Dr. Sheila Hankin, and I thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I think it's an important conversation to have, not just in any month. Of course, I know October is Breast Cancer Month, but when we talk about the borough of the Bronx, how prevalent are we seeing breast cancer and the correlation between breast cancer and the environment that we have here? Because we understand that there's a lot of, unhealthy things going on, and talk to us about that.
Well, breast cancer in general, they say that you have women 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer. Here in the Bronx, it's 1 in 5. So there's a greater probability of you getting breast cancer here in the Bronx. It's important for people to understand exactly what's happening with breast cancer. The breast itself is made up of 3 parts: the lobules, the ducts, and the connective tissue. So, of course, the lobules are where the milk is made, the ducts carry the milk to the nipple, and the connective tissue is the fibrous or fatty tissue that make up the breast. What happens in breast cancer is these cells grow abnormally. They divide quickly and they form lumps. The important thing to get out to the public is that women need to know their bodies, particularly their breasts, because nobody knows your breasts like you do. You're going to notice something unusual before anyone else does. So here in teaching, patients, teaching the public how to do breast self-exams.
Right. Before you get to that exam, I want to really just talk about this problem, because a lot of women do not bother to get screened, and for some reason
that is the major problem.
What's the major
some
issue?
of it is anxiety and fear, but that delay in getting screened is what has pushed the mortality rate up for Black and Hispanic women here in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working towards. If we can get them screened, we've got half the battle right there. When you get the delayed screening, you decrease your chance of survival. You decrease the chances of different treatment options because of now you're in a later stage.
Let's try and get some people screened, because we know the importance of it. But we also know that people are afraid. So let's talk a little bit about some of the myths, the stereotypes, and why people really shouldn't be afraid. Somebody will say it's very painful.
And it is. I'm not going to lie. Getting a breast exam, yes. But again, if you know your breast, you're going to find something before someone else.
Right.
The screening itself, no, it's not a pleasant screening. There are a lot of things in life as adults that we do that is not pleasant. And knowing that if we don't do it, what the probability is. So yes, they're putting your breast in the machine and they're squeezing it like a pancake. It's not a pleasant experience, but it's over quick, and then you feel better after it's over.
Yeah.
Anxiety keeps them from doing it. Sometimes lack of insurance and not knowing how to pay for it, so they don't even want to consider it. But, they have to also be made aware in most communities. It's certainly here in the Bronx. There are places where you can get the screenings free. There are mobile vans. I know the Female Fight Club here in the Bronx has a mobile van that's always around. Montefiore, St. Barnabas, they have mobile vans that are around. Another place that we, hear a lot from, and we hear from patients, Casa de la Sol. So they also have free screenings. Mm-hmm. And the point is to get it out to them so that they get screened. What happens and keeps people from getting screened is misinformation. Right. We're a social media generation, and they're getting misinformation, they're getting wrong information, and they're delaying screenings.
When you think about it, what is some of the misinformation that you're hearing that maybe you could tell viewers today that's not true?
Well, I don't know all of the misinformation. I know that the thing that they're getting is that they don't have to be screened. You'll know if something's wrong. You'll know if you're doing self-breast exams. You will know. Mm-hmm. You'll know if you're looking. You know what your breasts look like. If they look different, if they feel different, they feel heavier, if you see any dimpling, if you see any discharge from the breast, you will know. But the misinformation out there, it can wait. It's not that important.
Right.
You know, you don't get it when you're young. Yes, you do. We have patients, you know, in their 20s. No, most times it's women after 40. For Black and Hispanic women, yes, it can come earlier. And the terrible thing about underrepresented populations is that they get subtypes that are more aggressive. So that's really why we want to get the screening earlier. So these subtypes can be, it's like one of the subtypes, triple negative breast cancer, is seen greatly in the Black population in the Bronx here. And women are twice as likely to die from this triple negative breast cancer, and generally because it's discovered so late.
How do you break down what a triple negative is for somebody who might be just, you know,
It's
watching?
just the subtype, you know, it's like a type of mutation.
Right.
So that's basically a type of cell that it is. And there are so many different types, but this is a type that we have seen in Black and Hispanic women, and it's a very aggressive type. So that's why we speak on it.
Yeah. In the sad event, if someone is diagnosed with breast cancer, obviously a lot of fear, emotions go into that. But if someone is diagnosed and they're out there watching, or family members out there watching, walk them through next steps and what they should do.
You know, that's something that's difficult to hear. You know, someone to say, yes, we found something, it's malignant, and then you're not hearing anything right after that.
Right.
You know, but the important thing after that is choosing the correct doctor. And many of our people don't know where to look, how to choose the correct doctor. And it may take more than one doctor till you get to that right doctor. But once you choose a physician, asking questions, knowing everything that you can about your type of cancer and all of the treatment options. What we've also seen here in the Bronx, or with Black and Hispanic women, Black women are often offered as an option radiation. Hispanic women aren't. So disparities in the treatment itself. And without the option of radiation, the chances of the cancer returning or returning in a different form are great. Yeah. But even with that, Black women have a worse outcome than Hispanic or white women.
Somebody's out there watching right now, maybe have that family member out there watching right now and say, listen, my family member has been diagnosed with breast cancer. We're meeting with the doctors. And as you mentioned before, choosing the right doctor is one of the most important things. What questions should I be talking to my doctor about if diagnosed?
What treatment options are out there? Really, truly understanding your cancer. You know, I diverge a little. You know, I'm a cancer survivor, ovarian, but as I said, when you get that diagnosis, you're not hearing anything. So it really takes time to absorb that and then search for the right doctor. Being a healthcare provider, yes, you know, I know how to find the right doctor. But again, sitting there listening to the doctor tell you, yes, this is an aggressive type, this is what we have as options. We have to start chemo next week. Those are things that you're not absorbing. So you really have to go home and come back. And when you come back, have questions that you need answers to. And you will have questions that you need answered. It's a hard road.
Right.
And you may need emotional or psychological support to help you navigate through that whole process of treatment.
When I use that scenario that you just said, you know, okay, we may need to go in, we need to do this next week. To that patient, that might be like very rushed. And it is very rushed, right?
Rushed.
But is it okay to say to a doctor in a situation like that, pause, I need a couple more weeks, I need some time to really digest, or am I putting myself more at risk by, because that's going to be the conflict that people are saying.
But those
like,
are the questions that you're going to be asking, just like you're doing right here. Those are the questions you would be asking your physician. So if I wait a couple of weeks, is that to my detriment? You know, do we need to do this? Yes, you know, say, yes, I had a mass. Yeah, this needs to come out right now. You know, and then after that, you know, you have the surgery, you're in the hospital, we got to start chemo in 2 weeks. It's like a whirlwind. And just to get through it, just to hold yourself emotionally together, it's not easy. You know, when we talk about myths, so yes, you have a 1 in 8 chances of getting cancer, you know, but we talk about the risk of cancer, being overweight, alcohol consumption, family history of any type of cancer. But a myth is that the family history increases your risk. 85 to 90% of people who develop breast cancer have no family history.
Wow.
So it's a learning process, and it's difficult when you're going through it.
Right. Before I let you go, I want to ask you a question about treatments and, you know, options and stuff of that nature. Are the treatments and the options available for those with breast cancer getting better?
I think they are. You know, we're looking at the community that we're serving. Are the treatments available to everybody, or are there disparities there? Yeah, there are disparities there. And insurance or ability to pay does come into play. Treatment options, depending on when the cancer is discovered, the treatments that are available. You know, they're doing a lot with hormone therapy now. They're doing a lot with therapies that treat the cancer and changing the treatment periodically. Cancer is very smart. So you try a method and they learn a way around the method. So really being aware, okay, this is not working, and changing before the cancer is resistant to it.
Yeah. Gotta leave it there, Dr. Hankin. Thank you so much for taking the time and giving us some information. I think it's very vital that, especially in this month, but not just in this month, but in this season, for so many people to have that vital information. Go see a doctor, get screened, and at the same time, ask those questions and get screened. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, listen, we are going to take a quick break, but for more information, visit the website on your screen below. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
Leaders. We learned that everything starts with ourselves, then we have to educate ourselves, then we have to build community and use our imagination.
We're gonna start the show right now. This is my favorite part. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey, this is Angel, and I am one of the instructors for the in-studio production. Here at BronxNet, we offer classes that can help you elevate, expand, and start your television career. All you have to do is sign up at bronxnet.org/education. For the past 7 years, I have been in various productions, spanning from talk shows, independent films, news reports, art displays, teachings, musical performances, and many more. Ain't that right, Angel? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Angel. There are a lot of creative individuals that we're just waiting to sign up for the class. And if I may, can I also express Thank you, Angel. That's all the time we have left. Visit bronxnet.org/education and become a producer, by taking the course. The class I offer is also in English, en español y también bilingüe. Nos vemos en la próxima clase.
And we are back. Our next guest works not only highlights the critical role of minority clans in preserving the Horn of Africa's ancient culture, but it also strives to renew global interest in Somalia's extraordinary archaeological heritage. Here now to speak about its work in Somalia, his not-for-profit HASAN, we welcome now Justin Fornal, who's here with us. And good to see you, my brother.
Darren, thank you so much for having me today. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you, and I haven't seen you in a minute, but I know you've been busy.
We stay busy, absolutely.
Absolutely, and the work, really, taking you to Somalia,
Yes.
and really taking an opportunity to learn more about the culture, clan, and the environment.
Absolutely.
From your perspective, tell me a little bit about, first of all, the initiative.
Sure, absolutely. So a few years ago, I'd written for National Geographic, for Vice, and a lot of these, great publications, but a lot of the work I was trying to get published about places like Somalia, Iraq, even places as close to home as Haiti, unless there was some kind of tragedy attached, a lot of times the story wouldn't get published.
Right.
And that's sadly due to that there's certain places around the world where in the West, we only really get the negative stories. And so myself and a few other academics created an organization, the History, Arts, and Science Action Network. And our entire initiative was to go to places around the globe that really was only getting the negative news cycle. And so many of these places have such rich, beautiful, ancient cultural heritage that is still existing today. Right. But much of it, sadly, due to a lot of the conflict, is on its last generation. Case in point, a place like Somalia. And it was a place that has such, the ancient kingdom of Punt is one of the great ancient African kingdoms, is believed to be there. You look nearby in Egypt, most of their income is tourism-based because of all these rich archaeological sites. Somalia has so many unresearched archaeological places that are just waiting to be open to the world and connect Somalia to so much of this great kind of movement in the ancient world.
Right.
But for that to happen, you have to get in there and get around the conflict and tell those stories. And case in point here, one of the projects that we're doing, here we have two artifacts. Both of these are made from a mineral known as sepiolite. You may also call them meerschaum.
Right.
This comes from Eskişehir, Turkey, while this comes from Elbur, Somalia. This is meant for holding incense or tobacco, and this is dabkab, is meant for burning it. Now, Eskişehir is UNESCO recognized as a center of Turkish cultural heritage. It is rich with tourism and commerce. It's a place lots of people go from Turkey as well as around the world. Unfortunately, Elbur, the only other place in the world where they carve out of this beautiful white stone, is actually in control by the terrorist organization Al-Shabaab.
Right.
So you can't even go there. And outside of that, they also have rich biodiversity, endemic flora and fauna that's really been not researched deeply. So that's something we've been working so hard to get to Elbur to tell this story. And if we're able to get that word out there, Elbur could be as successful as Eskişehir. And you could see in the future, we could see people going there to celebrate Somali cultural heritage, history, the people, and it would give that community a major source of income. I spent a lot of my time in East Africa. If you go to Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, you're going to see these everywhere. And I'll say, where do those come from? Oh, that came from over here. No, they all come from Elbur. They don't come from anywhere else. When you see these, they come from Somalia.
That's where they come from. You spent time in a lot of high-risk environments and neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about the challenges you face, because navigating those challenges are pretty immense as a journalist, as a scholar, all of the time.
It's interesting. If you think even in like a neighborhood in the Bronx, for example, almost no place is dangerous 24 hours a day. You could go places on a Sunday morning as opposed to 2 in the morning, on a Friday night. It's going to be a different group of people who are there, and the vibe's going to be different. And the same goes for around the world. But unless the bad guys are in control.
Right.
And unfortunately, in areas of Somalia, the Al-Shabaab is in complete control, so you can't even get in. As soon as I get to the border, I'm going to be apprehended, I'm going to be killed, or I'm going to be put up for ransom. So as opposed to other places where you might be in a high-risk urban environment where there's only a certain amount of people who want to do you harm or take advantage of you, but there is still a sense of control. There is some kind of policing force who eventually is going to stop the bad things that are happening. But in areas where complete criminal organizations are in complete control, there is no there's no one to call.
Right.
So that's why, for example, El Bur, as opposed to, a higher risk urban environment like Mogadishu, which is the capital. Mogadishu it's a booming city. There's, there's lots of exciting things happening. Of course, there's a dangerous element, and there are things that happen there. But the government is in control of Mogadishu. But then you go outside to the outskirts of certain areas, you can't.
It's a totally different story. I just came back from South Africa. I could see we can share similar stories about where you go, where you can't go, where it's bad 24 hours a day. But while I got you, let me talk a little bit about, because we do have some video here. I want to be able to share some of our viewers as I get our producer staff to roll the video. I want you to give me a little bit of a walking tour of what we're seeing, because you're able to help us really see some things up close and personal. Yeah. So let's take a look at the video now.
My priority is to move from Somalia, from the difficult situation that it has been in the last 3 decades, and make Somalia a normal country, like any other country in the world. And I was elected as the president of Somalia in 2012. I was elected again in 2022. In the history, I am the first Somali president who has been elected twice in the office. In the second agenda I had in my term was also the war against terrorism and Al-Shabaab from 2012 to 2017. We have liberated more than 30 districts by that time, opened main supply routes in many places, and take over strategic positions like bridges and important cross points of the country. Somalia has joined the East Africa community, which you are seeing its flag behind me. And we are active back in IGAD, the African Union, the Arab League, all those institutions that Somalia used to be part. We are back, and we are active members of that. We succeeded to become a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council. The last time we've been a non-permanent member in the United Nations Security Council was 1971-72. So this is again the second time that Somalia is coming. All these put together are indications that the Somali state is moving forward and has been accepted by the world.
And there we saw the president of Somalia, and give us a little bit of backstory.
Sure. Here. So my team was recently in Mogadishu, and we were lucky and fortunate enough to have a sit down with the president to have that, that exclusive interview with him. And that was just a small excerpt of a longer discussion we had, really to see what the government is doing to move forward, to advance the country, to beat Al-Shabaab, and really open its borders and its culture to the world. So to have that moment to sit down and hear what is actually happening directly from the leadership and see how hard this administration is working to bring this country up. Right. And to not only to make it safer and to make it more prosperous, but to also say, hey, look, we've got great archaeological sites. We have a great culture. We are more than just what you see on the news.
And your project is really doing that. It's helping to really, enhance the work that goes on in Somalia, but at the same time also really getting rid of Al-Shabaab and that legacy that's out there, that's permeating.
Exactly. And one thing I do want to say about our organization is we take great pride in collaborating with local producers, storytellers, filmmakers, young people, because it is their story that's being told here. Mm-hmm. So in a lot of these situations, a lot of groups, we're just working together for them to reclaim their narrative and to tell their version of their story and their history.
Yeah. So how do we, on this side, because you said it very importantly, that the Western always has one lens when it comes to this, but how can the Western world really be a greater support for the work that's going on in Somalia, the people out there that are really trying to get things, take things back? How can we continue to, just pour in?
Well, I think one thing, it really starts with, look at a place that you don't know about. Look at the map and look at a country you've never heard of, and then look up what the history of that country is to really learn who the people are who live there and of kind of the ups and downs that have happened over the last millennia. And then you really get an understanding of how unique our planet is. And it's not just about, here we are in the U.S., let's be xenophobic and be scared of everyone from anywhere else. No, let's look around the world, because we're a new country. Right. In the scope of the world, we're a new country, and there's so many wonderful ancient places that have contributed so richly, and these places are still there. And a lot of times I say that these ancient ways are still existing in footprints and whispers. And you can go to places like Ethiopia, and although Addis Ababa is such a modern cosmopolitan city, there are still amazing ancient things taking place. And and so it's same with the Horn, all throughout the Horn of Africa. It's just amazing to explore these places and hear from the people firsthand, the valuable treasures that are still in existence.
When you did your archaeological work going around Somalia, what surprised you the most?
What surprised me the most was how excited people were that I was interested in something other than terrorism and famine. And I would have a sit down and I'd ask someone about a specific talisman or a specific textile, and you saw people's eyes light up because they'd never been asked that before. They think every journalist is like, so, how many people were killed in that car bomb? Or, tell me about the rates of people who are now on the verge of starvation. And it was just such a willingness and excitement to interact on that level. And people are like, well, how do you know El Bur? How do you know this place? And so that's what I mean. You'd be amazed at how willing people are to talk about positive things because they never even get the chance to do that.
Right.
And I think, there's so many ancient kingdoms in Africa that are not taught in any of our history books here, that when you sit back and you start to look and look at places like Timbuktu and just the legacy of kind of the history that's still there today that remains from 1,000 years ago is phenomenal. Yeah. But we have to grab onto it, we have to preserve it because, once again, some of these stories, some of these recipes, some of these textiles, some of these handicrafts could be on the last generation. And once they're gone, they're not being documented. They will be lost from existence forever. And so it's our duty to go out there and, just look around the Bronx and think about a restaurant you used to love. And it's like, that place is gone. And it might not be recorded. Nobody ever filmed it. And it's like, no, there was this amazing place and this lady who cooked this amazing food. And just like that, you go there, now it's a CVS.
Right.
It's a Rite Aid. It's like, well, we need another one of those. No, we need culture. We need people. We need stories.
So the work that you're doing, obviously, is preserving culture. It's telling the story. It's really bringing to life stories that are really untold. For you, obviously, there's a great sense of joy in being able to tell those stories that aren't being told, because you're passionate about it. Really, what do you say to people who don't always get the story told the way that it should be told? What do you say to people who say, you know what? I'm only used to hearing it from one perspective. How do I get around the bend, like you do, to be able to get this information, to be able to see a bigger picture?
Sure, absolutely. I say the best conversations and the most interesting friends I have are the ones I can learn the most from, and those are people who are most different from me.
Right.
So if you only stay with people who look like you and have your culture and your background and your history, you're only going to learn that very narrow, kind of curated version of the truth or of the world, and everyone else is different and bad. So I've always encouraged people, go out, go to different community centers, go to different restaurants and just start a conversation with someone from another country, because suddenly you're like, wow, this is really interesting. And all of a sudden it's like, of course, people are apprehensive of you, you're apprehensive of them. And of course, you always hear that in the Bronx. I'm like, why is this person in there? Is he from the health department?
Right.
Who is this dude, an undercover cop? And then once you start to have conversation, you say, wow, I'm fortunate enough that I get to travel the world for my work. But I've always told people you can travel the world without even leaving the Bronx. But if you just stay on your block and you keep that narrow perspective, that's all you're going to have for your entire life. But if you explore a little bit and go outside your little narrow friend group, you'll be amazed at how vast and beautiful the world is, even within this borough.
Yeah, I preach to a lot of people living in a 20 by 20 block radius, right?
Yep.
And venturing outside of that is something that many people don't do, but it would change the way I think that we live. I think it just changed the way that we interact with people, just knowing more about that. Justin, for people who want to find out more about the work that you're doing, be connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I could do one closing note on that too, is so many of the connections, because people say, well, how do you go to these places? How do you go to, all these kind of countries that can be difficult to navigate? A lot of my best connections have just been people who I've met either in New York, but specifically the Bronx. Friends from the Malian Cultural Center who have paved the way for me to travel all over Mali. People who owned a bodega, Yafa Deli in Leiden, was from Yemen. And I remember it was over 10 years ago now, but I asked them some questions and they connected me with some people who were able to be my driver when I was there. So it's so funny that as opposed to going through the United Nations or all these complicated things, neighborhood people from other countries have a vast wealth of knowledge that they would like to share with you. And in terms of my Instagram, it's at Justin_Fornal. But we have full films on our website, which is HASANworldwide.org. We'd love for you to come by see our films and come to some of our events. We'll be posting them there.
I'm in.
Always a
My
pleasure.
boy, good to see you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yes, sir. Justin Fornal, my boy's back in the studio. Glad to have him here. You got to come back and tell us some more, all right?
I sure will.
All right, listen, if you want to find out more information, don't hesitate to visit the website and then also follow him on Instagram at Justin_Fornal. We encourage you, don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Open coming up right after this.
What's up, creative family? Discover your voice with BronxNet community media classes. Are you ready to bring your ideas to life? At BronxNet, we offer television production classes for community members ages 18 and over, empowering you to share your vision with the world. Get certified in field production, in-studio production, and our new exciting addition, podcast production. Once certified, you can create your own show to air on one of our 6 TV channels. It all starts with our free Unleash Your Ideas Masterclass, designed to help you plan your show idea and set you up for success on your production journey. This class is offered at the beginning of each month for your convenience. Our dedicated BronxNet team is here to support, encourage, and uplift you every step of the way. Join us and become a part of the creative force that engages and inspires the Bronx community and beyond. Sign up today and start your media journey with BronxNet. Visit bronxnet.org/education to learn more and register. Let's create something amazing together.
And we are back. Listen, Halloween is right around the corner, and our next 2 guests here to tell us about the Miss Abbies 13th Annual Halloween Health and Wellness Citywide Block Event. And here to tell us more about the event is the Executive and Legislative Director of Miss Abbies, Shanequa Charles, and Miss Abbies Creative Director, Artist Up. Good to have y'all.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming and sharing. And really an exciting time for you, because this isn't just, this is years of being and doing. So share with us a little bit about it.
So this is our 13th year. We turned teenagers this year. And essentially doing this event is not a celebration of Halloween, but it's an opportunity for us to really tap into the young people in the community who are normally out looking for things that are harmful to the body and trouble to get into, to say, hey, how about we consider these healthier options of things to eat? How about we consider these healthier activities to engage in? How can we use this to really elevate and promote community in the sense that we're tied together inextricably and be happy and healthy doing so? And so, you know, here we have it, something our mom did for years before she passed away in 2012, giving kids better things to eat talking to their parents about her own failing health. Hey girl, do you see them spots in your eyes? That might mean you have some diabetes. Hey, does your pee smell sweet? That might mean you have more sugar. You go to the doctor and get those things checked out. And she was successful as a lady with her SSI check doing that from her heart. When she passed, we included the whole community. So we bring out the resources, we make it fun for the young people, and we're teaching them those apples and veggie burgers. They go out pretty quickly throughout the day.
Really?
Yes.
So artists, up a little bit more about your work too.
Yes, thank you. So I'm the creative director of Miss Abbies Kids. I'm a poet, a host, an educator, and I've been in the community for about 40 years. And so I'm glad to see our work expand through the lives of the children that we've touched initially, that have become adults and even have their own children now, who are reading ingredients of packages from stores and saying, oh, I don't think I should eat this. It has, you know, yellow 5 or red 40, things of that sort. And so I'm really excited about being able to see it come to fruition right away. It's like, you know, when you plant a bamboo plant, it takes like 5 years for it to grow.
Right.
And we're seeing it so fast. It's like a super bamboo of the community, Miss Abbie's super bamboo health health plan.
Right.
So I'm really grateful for that. And Fordham University is like right across the street from where we started. And so when I was a young girl, I used to look at the gate and wonder what was behind there. And as I went through my journey of scholastic endeavors and then going forward, when we decided to become a nonprofit organization to build others' lives, I said, I think I know what's on the other side of that gate. And so I went to graduate school and I got my master's from Fordham University. And it was just a full circle, because I would have never thought as a young girl, being in a community that was so deprived of resources, that one, we would start a nonprofit, and then two, be so connected that way. So yeah.
Yeah, when you think about like being right there at the gate, I mean, obviously there's a whole other life on the other side of the gate, and then you have that the community that is rich in, you know, that's rich in needs. When we talk about our borough, obviously the borough of the Bronx in particular, one of the most unhealthiest boroughs, right? But then you're doing the work, and you've done it for 13 years. You talk about how you've seen kids actually come and grow up, and now they're adults, and they've actually been able to tell their kids about the healthier options. Are people more receptive to grabbing on to the wellness perspective in a time and a day like this?
People are absolutely looking for things that they can grab onto that really serve the soul, right? So from an outward perspective, it could feel like, well, we're not going to get involved in this, we're not going to do that. What we've been able to do over the last 13 years is create bridges and connect people and places and things that would not ordinarily be connected. For example, our original mission, which is to build a stronger, healthier, more sustainable Bronx child through real-world teachings, identifying the 7 areas that, if not targeted young, will cut the lifespan down. We've been able to blow way past that, way past the borders of the Bronx, way past the borders of New York State. Our work is national now, and civic engagement, legislation and policy, community revitalization, development are all part of our iterations of what we do. So if we're going back to like where people are saying, I don't really want to get involved in that health thing, and we help them, that wellness thing, and we help them understand that wellness and health is not just the physical health, it's the spiritual health, the mental health, the economic health, and all of those things, it becomes way more interesting to people when they think about that holistic approach.
Right, the holistic
it becomes, it becomes something like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I was missing out on all of this, versus, what you mean that carrot or that? You know what I mean? That
I've been eating this for years. My mother ate it. My grandmother ate it. My great grandmother ate it. Okay, and everybody has diabetes. Everybody has all these things are not hereditary.
The healthier option. We got. I mean, you're educating people on the healthier option. And I do want to say, 31st, right? Big event.
Yes.
And so for people who are coming on the 31st, first I'll tell people about it, where, when. We already said when, the 31st, but where and what they can expect.
Oh, man. So 2553 Decatur Avenue between Fordham and East 193rd Street. We shut down that whole street. from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We still have some space for people who want to come in, vendor, or have resources to offer the Bronx. They can connect with us directly. And people who want to sponsor the event also can connect with us directly. We are a self-funded organization. People can expect resources of the Bronx out there ready to serve and put people on the things that they didn't know about already. People can expect healthier food choices and options and learning about what that looks like and the fun in discovering those things. And MissAbbiesKids.org, more specifically to register to come, go to bit.ly/Mac Halloween 2025, bit.ly/MAK Halloween 2025, and they'll also find some more information there.
Yeah. You talk about 13 years, right? And it seems like overnight in some ways. And it seems like a long journey. Surprised at where you've landed 13 years later? Was this the original intention? Or do you find yourself saying, wow, we've really exceeded expectations?
We've really exceeded the expectation. We wanted to help community. We wanted to help, I have 46 years in the Bronx, outside of going off to college and, doing various things and traveling and whatnot. And we wanted to help the people that we saw every day. Never did we expect when mommy passed from 4th stage lung cancer with metastases to all 4 regions of her brain, that our love for her love for people would turn into this thing that we would have been able to help over 1.2 million people nationally, that we'd be passing laws and writing laws. We have a bill in the state right now that we've authored, and it's different from our historical approach and helping other people in city, state, and federal get the legislation going. We have to do the policy work that protects the groundwork.
Right.
We didn't expect that off the rip.
And we didn't expect to get there being self-funded, because to be clear, starting out self-funded, is a bit it's like really rough.
Yeah.
And never putting down the mission was like really awesome, and really, you go to the gym or you work out and you feel like so great. That's what it's been like. It's been like a treadmill of love. Like, sometimes you choose money for, or money for, let's choose community.
Right.
Let's choose community because it's going to go a lot further.
Right. It's a self-sacrifice. I think some people don't always understand that, when you're doing it as a grassroots organization.
Self-investment.
Right. And a lot of money that you spend from the ground up is your own. And sometimes the return on investment doesn't seem like it's coming. And then there's that one day when it starts to click in and you're like, bang, this is the return on investment.
And it protects our autonomy. As people who are in the community and deeply understand what works in community and how we got here in the first place and what changes need to happen in order for those things to succinctly help, it maintained our autonomy, So
Shanequa, you touched on something before. You talked about the fact that you guys are in policy and legislation. We're not going to gloss over that and just say, okay, you talked about writing a bill.
Right.
What bills should people be paying attention to in the bill?
So people should be paying attention to the McDowell-Watson Medical Transparency in Correctional Facilities Act. As it stands right now, we know that there is a mass incarceration problem that has been happening, that Black and brown bodies continue to be at the forefront of, the new age slavery, which is mass incarceration. What people don't oftentimes know is that for all of the people that come home and have to have their records expunged, and people who didn't do the crime but served them last 18, 25 years of their life, while people are inside, their medical needs are not being treated. People are dying inside. Families are not being notified. The first and foremost tenet of this bill that we have already introduced into the Senate and the Assembly of New York State back in March of the last legislative calendar makes it so that if you have a medical emergency or a loss of life while you are incarcerated, your family, your emergency contact is to be notified in the first 12 hours. There are cases where people are buried 2-3 months and the families don't even know that they have passed away. people in comas, in facilities outside of the prison or jail that they're in, where loved ones are frantically trying to find their people inside and they're actively being lied to. The bill stands to correct that. It stands to provide oversight via a 9-person independent body to ensure that medical records are being done properly, that proper engagement is happening, and it protects both the person that is imprisoned and the people that work there who want to do the right thing. You know, maybe they don't have the law to back them up that says no, but I have to offer this particular treatment to this person. Now they'll have a law to back them up, and the people who are incarcerated will have a law that protects their rights and their dignity.
You talk about autonomy, and I get it, right? Because it's nothing like keeping your own and going in your own vision and direction, and not having somebody be that person to come and say, "Hey, I think you ought to," when you really know what mom stood for from the beginning, and now you're carrying that out. However, there are people out there who do want to support you, right? So for that person that's out there that wants to support you, what do they do in terms of whether it's financial or technical services or whatever? If a person wants to support the work that you're doing, how do they do that?
They can contact myself or Artist Up. They can contact me directly, either through the website, missabbieskidsorg. And here's also an email address that folks can use, Miss Abbies Kids Community Center @gmail.com. MISSABBIESKIDSCOMMUNITYCENTER.
Or you can check at the bottom of the screen, because I think I just got, the whole thing, the bottom of the screen, we got you. I'm going to hook it up. I got a question for you.
Yes.
So when I was getting ready, right, we got the name Artist Up, and I was like, so how did you come about the name Artist Up? You just need to tell me before we get out of here.
Yes, I will. Thank you for asking that question. So when I was a young girl, I really loved poetry, and writing saved my life. I was born single-parent home, economically deprived community, and as I was going through school, arts really wasn't a big thing. It's actually one of the first things that are to go. Saying that we don't need
Arts,
that, which
sports,
is
music, right?
which is not true. And so I'm like, I want something to identify where I am. And so many times, even that thought process is put down from the home first. It's like, no, that's not dancing, poetry, singing. We're not going to do that. We're going to go straight to the books. That's not a real profession. It's not a real thing. That's extra. This is what really matters. And so I said, you know what? Even, that wasn't my case at home, but I knew it was cases in many homes. And I said, no, I'm an artist and I'm going to rise up, Artist Up. And so thank you for asking that. And what I'm really grateful for, because a lot of times young people, or even, it doesn't matter how old they are, they get into something, there's always an aspect where you have to grab it, hold strong, and take it seriously. And so I'm not just Artist Up outside of my birth certificate. I own my name. It's trademark. I own it. There's insurance on me. I have insurance on me. So like where I am, there is protection. So I think that's important. And it's real.
There's she is Artist Up.
Yes.
So Artist Up, thank you for being with me.
Thank you.
Shanequa, thank you so much for coming to be with us. Continue the great work, okay? And anything we do to support, let us know.
And one more thing. Let me just say, we are so complete, not only because of us, but because of Square Root Entertainment, which is another organization that does so much work in the community out of Harlem. DJ Ant Live, he is Miss Abbies Kids.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
The information at the bottom of the screen, so that way you can be able to find out more for Shanequa, Artist Up, then you can support the work that's going on. All righty, got to wrap up. Daren Jaime saying thank you for watching Open. If you missed any part, catch Recablecast, BronxNet Channel 67, Optimum Channel 67, I should say, Verizon Files 2133, or anytime on the web at BronxNet.org. Catch a brand new one on Friday with my girl, Rena Valentine. I'm Daren Jaime saying take care. God bless.